Thank you very much for the invitation to speak here today. The topic of my talk and where we come from, Central Queensland University, or CQUniversity as we're branded now. We've been in international education for quite some time. We have a significant cohort of international students. Nearly half our students are international students. And we started out as a distance education provider, but got into the international market early on. And we now have campuses in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Gold Coast, as well as our regional campuses in Queensland. And we also have offshore operations as well. But rather than just teaching international students, we decided that it was time that we took an international focus on our curriculum as well and started producing graduates for the global market. So we wanted to have students coming out that were not only international in their thinking, but could work across cultures quite well. And so we started on this journey, and we developed an international activities framework statement to guide how we're going to modify our curriculum and develop it up. Now, what we did was look at a three-stage process, 3 levels of this. We looked at the personal level, so we wanted to look at self-awareness, cross-cultural competence. We also wanted to look at Indigenous perspectives of various countries, so at the very personal level. At the next level up, we wanted to look at how you teach or how you interact across nations, the relationships between nations, the whole thing about diplomacy, etc. And then a third level, we wanted our students to have, or graduates to have, a global perspective on things. So the big issues that transcend nations around the environment and sustainability, etc. So they were the 3 levels that we saw as a way to address this problem, or the process to go through. Just speed that up. What we did is we went to employers, asked around, tried to find out what transferable skills graduates should have, and manage and respond effectively to cross-cultural and Indigenous issues was one. Be cognizant of the local and wider impact of decisions that you make in business, and then communicate sensitively and effectively in multicultural and changing environments. So they were the things that we were being told, or the feedback we were getting about this transferable skills that we should build into our curriculum. We then looked at a 5-stage process for going about this. The first one was develop a shared understanding of international and cross-cultural knowledge with skills within the context of the discipline. The second step we saw was conduct an audit or map of the existing courses within our programs in relationship to this understanding. And then the third step, we'd aggregate the mapping findings to establish how each course contributes to the desired international and cross-cultural knowledge and skills, identify any gaps that we had, and then enhance the courses within the program to address these gaps. Then going back to the 3 levels, the first level requires the development of awareness of perspectives other than one's own. So we mapped it across. That was the level, the learning outcomes, students respect the differences, have an international attitude. Teaching strategy, we'd embed the international and cross-cultural perspectives in the general curriculum, and then come up with a teaching method, supplement the existing curriculum with international examples. So that's level 1. Level 2 was the international and cross-cultural awareness, the one's transnational type approach. So, that was the level, learning outcomes, students can evaluate international applications and implications for their disciplines. So we'd focus on building knowledge of other cultures and what exists in different countries. And then level 3, which was the more global aspects, involves the capacity and confidence of building and providing opportunities for rehearsal and performance in international and cross-cultural contexts. So, you know, getting a more global perspective, not just a transnational perspective. So then we had to tease it down into how we were actually going to do this. And the first level to look at is the Australian Qualifications Framework. Any degree program that we have has to meet those standards defined by the AQF. So we had to work out what the learning outcomes of each of our programs were going to be. We then took the discipline level view, righto, what international perspectives are, perspectives are expected of a graduate in that discipline type area. Then getting down to the program view, where does the program develop the ability to communicate sensitively and effectively in a multicultural and changing environment? So getting down to the program level to embed some of these attitudes and skills. You know, then work at the course level within a program, what aspects are developed in this course that fit into the overall program view, and then start looking at the learning activities that would support such a development in the student. And there are others as well. Then we had to get down to the assessment tasks and the learning environment and put it in some sort of context so that it was meaningful. We then looked at some skills and attitudes for development in our students. These are the generic skills, you know, identify and evaluate emerging global cultural issues in their discipline, be aware of the impact of their local decision on the wider environment, respect cultural diversity, and be aware of their opportunities as graduates in a global environment. So they're the generic skills and attitudes we wanted to embed into it. So that was the process we went through. We're still very much working on this. Part of my brief is a School of Business and also a School of IT, and certainly they're the ones that we're working on right now, but I know also nursing have taken on board as well and trying to embed some of those skills into their curricula. It's an interesting journey, and it's, I think, a worthwhile journey because it really has changed attitudes about how we view international students and what the role of our education programs are in a global environment.